communism as a dangerous ideology, and I noted the pride that you took in the fact that Hungary were the first country to take up arms against the Soviet Union. Well, 20 years after you won back your ability to govern yourselves democratically, you are now part of a new political union that increasingly shows similarities with that old Soviet Union. In fact, you're going to meet lots of communists over the next 6 months, including the boss of the Commission here, old Barroso.
I think the immigration issue will be even bigger in next year's general election than it was in the European elections this year, and that is because the Eurozone in the Mediterranean has now got into deflation. We have youth unemployment rates of approaching 60% in 2 of those countries, and frankly, what would you do if you were a young man or woman living in those countries? Well, you'd come to the one country that thankfully had the common sense not to join the euro, and despite our debt repayment problem of £1 billion a week, we're doing much better and we're diverging from the rest of the Eurozone.
What is your ambition? Is it to be the government? Or is your best ambition just simply to be able to influence somebody else's government?
I think that UKIP is going to fundamentally change British politics in ways that it's very difficult to predict.
That sounds like you don't think you're going to be part of the government.
We may well be after 2015, who's to say? But you have to understand that most people in politics are motivated by ranking positions and promotion. We at UKIP are motivated by, firstly, what do we get our country back from Brussels, to have a nation of our own, then do all the things you can do as a free country, and a very good start.
Do you know something? I tell you what. You could say, I tell you what's not a con. Unlike Miliband, Clegg, Cameron, and virtually all the others, at 18 years old, I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and went to work. And I worked 20 years, paid my taxes, in the end ran my own company, employed people. I've worked in the real world. I know what it's like to go through tough times. I know what it's like to deal with bureaucracy. And none of them, frankly, have ever had a job. 5 countries, 5 of the 17, have now been bailed out. And you heard it here first, the next is Slovenia. Slovenia will be bailed out within the next 2 to 3 months, okay? You heard it here first. And given that the French, of course, now have a new president, who I think actually, in the modern-day pantheon of idiots that are running countries around the world, I think Monsieur Hollande is absolutely the number one. His third act was to introduce a hate tax of 75% for any successful entrepreneur, and with the last one, please leave the country immediately. This has become a religion. The idea that we must abolish the individual nation states, and they've got a new flag, they've even got an anthem. They've taken part of Beethoven's Fifth, and it's the anthem. And every 2 months in the European Parliament, they raise the flag and they play the anthem. Do you think I stand to attention? Do I hell? There's now a clear, settled majority opinion in this country which says, look, we're not anti-European. We want to trade with Europe, cooperate with Europe, and get on well with our next-door neighbours, but we don't want a part of political union. There's an obstacle, though, and the obstacle is here tonight in the form of Nick Clegg. It's the career political class and their friends in big business. They want us to keep this status quo.
The UK Independence Party leader Nigel Farage is with us. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you.
Some predict you may be the next Prime Minister. That's perfect.
Well, we're making progress.
Yeah.
We've had a 2-party system for the last 100 years, Labour v Tory, a little bit, you've got Republican, Democrat, first past the post system. We're making some big breakthroughs. We won the European elections earlier this year. There's a little revolution cooking in British politics.
Well, Labour's considered left. What do you think of Cameron, who's considered more conservative?
They're all social democrats. There isn't much to choose. You frankly can't put a cigarette paper between them on most big issues. And the big problem we've got as a country is that 75% of our laws are now made in Brussels by the European Union.
Which is nuts.
Which is unbelievable. I want to take that back. I want to be friendly with France and Germany, trade with them, but make our own laws in our own parliament.